We all make mistakes every day at home or at work, but we can fix them easily, but some mistakes cost billions of dollars. Welcome to Top Trendacy. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for upcoming videos. Number 8. The Heavy Submarine. In 2013, the Isaac Pearl was set to be the first in a new class of diesel-electric submarines when the discovery of an expensive mistake led to a big setback. It turned out that the submarine was 70 tons overweight, because an engineer had put a decimal point in the wrong place early in the planning process. To offset the weight of the enormous submarine, engineers were forced to make it even longer. By adding about 6 meters of length to the sub's hull, they were able to make it more buoyant. Unfortunately, the mistake still cost them $11.4 million. Number 7. New Coke. One of the most notorious product flops in history, New Coke was an ill-fated attempt on the part of Coca-Cola to compete with Pepsi's growing popularity. In 1985, New Coke was released. It was a sweeter-tasting soda that Coke hoped would make Pepsi's sales go flat. However, New Coke turned out to be an enormous and costly mistake. Nobody liked it, and Coke fans were so upset that the original flavor had to be brought back. Coke had spent $4 million to develop the new flavor and was left with $30 million in unsold New Coke, for a grand total of $34 million lost. Number 6. Trains too wide for the rail. In 2014, French train operator ordered 2,000 new trains for their lines in Paris and throughout France. Unfortunately, the trains were too wide to fit into the platforms at some of the older stations in France. The mistake arose because French officials had measured stations built 30 years ago but failed to account for stations that had been built 50 or more years prior, when trains were much thinner. To correct the error, construction was needed to widen the platforms at over 1,000 train stations in France. All told, fixing that mistake cost $68.4 million. Number 5. Lost Bitcoin. Everyone is familiar with Bitcoin nowadays. People do mine the collect Bitcoin in crypto vaults. James Howells is a British IT worker who made a mistake that cost him over $100 million. In 2009, Howells began using his personal laptop to mine the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. Although his laptop eventually stopped working, he held onto the drive that contained his 7,500 Bitcoin, worth $148 million today. Then, in 2013, he mistakenly put that drive in the bin, and it was taken out with the trash. As late as 2017, Howells was still lobbying his city to allow him to search the landfill for his lost Bitcoin. Unfortunately, the drive is by now certainly buried under 6 years of waste, and according to the city, undertaking a search would cause a huge environmental impact on the surrounding area. Number 4. Toss the winning ticket. Be careful with your lottery tickets, folks. In 2010, a British couple holding a winning ticket worth $147 million were unable to claim their prize. It turned out, the husband had mistakenly thrown the ticket away and ended their lottery dreams. If you believe in the lottery curse, it's possible that losing the ticket was a blessing in disguise. Many lottery winners have ended up penniless or losing their loved ones. However, we have to admit that if we won the lottery, we'd take our chances with the curse. Number 3. Crashing the Titanic. Everyone watched Titanic movie at least once. Before she set sail on her maiden voyage, the Titanic was known as an unsinkable ship. It was the largest ocean liner built at the time and was specially designed to make the long journey from England to America. The Titanic did not live up to its unsinkable reputation. The crew ignored warnings of an iceberg ahead, which led to disaster and death for many on board the ship. Titanic's whole right side scraped the iceberg, and the enormous ship sank. 1,517 people were killed in the accident because the ship wasn't carrying enough lifeboats for all the passengers, and it cost $168 million. Number 2. Russia sold Alaska. In 1867, Alaska was a Russian territory that was rapidly bleeding money. Russian merchants and bureaucrats had found some early financial successes there, but demand for higher salaries among officials was making Alaska more costly than it was worth, despite newly discovered gold mines. So, Russia made a deal with the US to sell the Chile territory for just $7.2 million. Over time, Alaska would turn out to be more valuable than Russia ever could have imagined. Thanks to Alaska's rich gold and oil industries, America has made back over $700 million on the deal. Number 1. Apple founder sells shares. Most of us know Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak as the founders of Apple, but back in the 70s when it all began there was a third founder. Ronald Wayne actually drew the first Apple logo. However, tensions between Wayne and Jobs led to him selling his stock. Wayne had a 10% share in Apple, which he sold in 1976 for just only $800. Had he held onto those shares, they would be worth at least $200 billion today. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for upcoming videos.